My name is Sterling, and my world was built on a flawless foundation of wealth and discretion. As the unseen owner of a global tech investment fund, my days were defined by quiet acquisitions, market dominance, and the constant, cold calculation of risk versus return. I was powerful, yes, but perpetually guarded, trusting no one, and increasingly weary of anyone attracted solely to the flash of my carefully hidden fortune. My identity, a meticulously managed lie, was just an expensive extension of my security. It was on a rare, calculated afternoon in the city's most exclusive public garden that my carefully constructed world was meant to shatter. I had arranged an elaborate high-profile marriage proposal complete with a live-string quartet, a rose-petal carpet, and hidden camera crews. She was Cynthia, the woman I had been dating for 6 months. She was 28, stunningly beautiful, but a certain calculating look always lingered in her eyes. She was a lifestyle blogger, a socialite, and a tireless pursuer of the better life. To the public and to Cynthia, I was simply a moderately successful finance manager from a good family. I saw her flawless designer dress and diamond jewelry and immediately assumed she was performing, waiting for her grand moment. "Cynthia, everything all right?" I asked, dropping to one knee with the velvet box open. She was visibly agitated. "This is it, Sterling, here, in front of all these people." I was guarded. I thought it was romantic. This ring, she didn't look at the ring. She simply looked past me, toward the cameras which she thought were tourist phones. "I'm not doing this." I hesitated, acting the part of the heartbroken man, but what choice did I have? The test had begun. "What are you doing, darling?" "Enough of this pretense," she replied with a cold, clear voice that carried perfectly over the hushed crowd. Her hands moved to pull the $100,000 diamond off my finger and toss it back in the box. "You know what you're doing. You know this isn't enough." I watched her quietly, methodically, her eyes scanning the crowd, looking for validation. I found myself continuing the performance, the ultimate small talk. "But I love you, Cynthia. What's wrong?" "Wrong? You're stagnant," she hissed, utterly oblivious to the lenses focused on her face. "I learned you don't work for a firm. You just manage family money, stagnant money. I deserve more." She shrugged off my question about our future with genuine contempt. "My trajectory requires a higher bracket than." A polished black Maybach ostentatiously nuppled up to the edge of the garden. The driver holding the door open for a man old enough to be her father, dripping in gold watch and Italian silk. "I didn't stop for this," she stated, gesturing to the scene. "I stopped for an upgrade." We stood in silence, two people from opposite truths, briefly bound by a broken ring and exposed greed. I managed only her name, Cynthia, and a simple look of pity. She nodded once, turned her back on me, and walked quickly to the waiting Maybach, disappearing into the tinted windows, leaving me kneeling, completely unsettled by her absolute lack of remorse. The silence that followed was heavy and expectant. My mind kept returning to her cold eyes. She had seen me not as a partner or a person, but simply as a wallet or a title, and she had rejected me with no expectation of consequence. That kind of calculated heartlessness, I realized with a jolt, was exactly what I had spent my life shielding myself from. The next morning, back in my real officer penthouse of steel and glass, I found the note I had prepared weeks ago. Execute Phase 2. I tasked my assistant with the final essential step: prep the footage for release. I knew it was harsh, but a part that desperately sought authenticity, had been vindicated by her betrayal. I needed the world to see her. After 2 days of relentless editing and legal scrubbing, my assistant returned with a clean, compelling documentary ready for viewing. The footage included her contemptuous dialogue, her quick exit, and the sound bites of me pretending to be the heartbroken manager. "Run the trailer," I commanded, my heart cold but steady. I didn't know what the public reaction would be, only that this simple act of self-preservation felt like the most necessary action of my life. The following day, the short documentary, titled "The Price of the Proposal*", went viral. I found her, or rather, the media found her lavish, temporary home. She was attempting to sweep leaves outside a neighbor's gate when a reporter called her name. She turned, phone pressed to her ear, recognizing my face instantly on the reporter's phone screen. "Sterling?" she asked, suddenly unsure. "I'm sorry to show up like this," I said, my voice echoing through the reporter's phone, now amplified for the crowd. "I came because you didn't get a chance to meet the real me." She was surprised, listened as I spoke the truth from the safety of my remote location. "I haven't been able to forget what you did," I confessed. "Not just rejecting the proposal, but how you did it with pure calculation, based only on my perceived bank balance. That's a rare kind of toxicity where I come from." I let the screen zoom in on my own face, which was now clearly recognizable as the famous, secretly guarded tech billionaire, Sterling Vance. I saw her composure crack, her worn performance shoes finally showing. I asked her the pivotal question, but I asked it to the camera. "If you had the choice, what would you really choose? Me, or the wealth you think I possess?" She stammered, trapped in her own lie. I don't know if it matters. Love can't be bought." That's when I extended my hand, holding the diamond ring now back in my possession to the camera. It wasn't an invitation. It was a final rejection. The documentary cut to a montage showing my real wealth, my actual companies, and the fact that the Maybach man was merely an actor I had hired. I gave her the final honest message. "You saw me as a means to an end. I see you the same way. The test is over. You failed." 2 hours later, Cynthia was nowhere to be found, fleeing the media storm that consumed her career. I stood outside my towering glass headquarters, relieved but heavy-hearted. I was back in control, wearing my usual, unremarkable suit, but I kept my head high. I addressed my team warmly, telling them, the integrity of our organization is paramount. I believe in authenticity. She lacked it. I needed her rejection to shape my future and ensure my next connection was grounded in reality. The weeks that followed were a challenge for her reputation, filled with scathing articles and lost sponsorships. But for me, a strange, quiet relief settled in a strategy meeting about a new charity initiative. When people were talking about tax breaks and public image, I simply cleared my throat and said, "If you want them to believe in the cause, speak from a place of genuine need, not just where it looks good." The room went silent, and then erupted in respect. I realized I had set out to change her, but her calculated rejection had ended up changing me by affirming what I truly valued. A year passed. I, Sterling, no longer the timid manager, stood on a stage addressing a packed philanthropic audience. I spoke about the importance of character over currency, thanking the universe for revealing the truth when it mattered most. My actual, supportive family was beaming in the front row, and I sat beside them, radiating peace. That night, my assistant and I drove out of the city, back to the winding road near the garden, and pulled over at the exact spot where the fake proposal had occurred. As the quiet breeze brushed our coats, I tossed the velvet ring box into the trash can. Engraved on the inside of the lid were 4 words that summarized everything. Asterisk, asterisk, one cold truth changes everything, asterisk, asterisk. I looked at the quiet landscape, then at my assistant. "It really does, doesn't it?" he whispered. I had come full circle, finding peace, clarity, and connection, not through romance or wealth, but through the undeniable, life-altering power of a single cold-hearted rejection that returned my focus to what truly mattered.